When the Japanese attacked the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Private William George Bill Turner was a radio operator assigned to Marine Scout Bombing Squadron 231 at Eva Mooring Mast Field, Oahu, Hawaii. During the attack, he supplied ammunition to Technical Sergeant Emil S. Peters, who was firing a belt-fed Browning .30 caliber machine gun from one of the aircraft parked on the airfield. The two Marines reportedly downed two enemy aircraft before both men were wounded. Private Turner, 22, died on December 12th as a result of the wounds he received during the attack. He was awarded the Bronze Star posthumously for his actions during the raid. Private Turner's family in rural Iowa didn't learn of his death until late in the evening on December 25th. According to the December 30th edition of his hometown newspaper, a telegram arrived at the Turner household shortly after 5 p.m. on Christmas Day, bringing the sad news of Private Turner's death. The telegram stated, "Your son, William George Turner, has now been reported killed in action instead of wounded in action. Temporary interment will be made at Pearl Harbor." His mother had been praying for her son to recover, having been notified of his wounding. Or better still, she was hoping that a mistake had been made and he wasn't wounded after all. The news article said, "Throughout Algona on Christmas evening there was universal sadness and sympathy. But as the Turner family said, it was a favorable stroke of fate that the news did not come until the close of the day. The family had spent most of the holiday season in the belief that he was still living." Turner's sister Ruth told a reporter that a Marine Corps official wrote a letter to the family telling them of William's bravery during the attack, and the letter concluded with the following statement: "It is needless to say that your great loss was our great loss, and we of this group are all very proud to have known William as the fine, upstanding American boy that he was." Private Turner was buried at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu, Hawaii, but the family held a memorial service for him in Algona, Iowa, in early January 1942. The First Presbyterian Church was filled to capacity as people gathered to pay their respects to the family of the town's first casualty of World War II.
Hey, welcome back to Scuttlebutt, a Marine Corps Association podcast. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I am Nick. I'm here with Vic.
Ho, ho, ho.
William.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, etc., etc., etc.
And joining us today is our behind-the-scenes extraordinaire, Nancy Lichtman.
Yay.
Happy New Year, everybody.
That was her voice you heard reading the story of...
Private William Turner.
Thank you. I had a brain fart. Okay, William Turner jumped out onto the airstrip at Pearl Harbor. Was it Pearl Harbor?
It was at Eva Field on Oahu.
Eva Field on Oahu to start shooting down any Japanese that they could get the bullets to. And sadly, he lost his life that day, and his family did not hear about it until Christmas. Why did we pick that story, Nancy?
We featured that in the December 2021 issue of Leatherneck because I thought it was a really good indicator. First of all, I wanted to touch on some of the unknown casualties of Pearl Harbor. We hear all about the tragedies that took place on the ships in the harbor, but I don't think the stories of the Marines at some of the other fields on Oahu are often told. And also, I just thought it was an interesting look at how times have changed. It would never take that long for such sad news to get back to a family in the modern era.
Yeah, and that is definitely in the last page of Leatherneck, December 2021. It's the last page of Leatherneck for the entire year. It's a Save Round section, which Nancy's been putting on for a few years now, and it's a fantastic read. Check it out if you have not already. Speaking of the deep history of the Marine Corps, we've gone through and decided that Christmas was a great time to look back at a few various times and events, and William has gone and made a nice list for us.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So we're going to go ahead and go through a blast from the past and talk about the 5 worst Christmases in Marine Corps history. worst being completely subjective, and because it'd be pretty easy to do the best Christmases, because it's pretty much every Christmas we haven't been at war or in fighting. So we're going to start off with the original, the second Christmas in Marine Corps history, 1776, December 25th, the crossing the Delaware, and the Battle of Trenton. Why is it one of the worst Christmases in Marine Corps history? Well, even though we won the battle and delivered America one of the best Christmas presents ever, it's kind of sucks to be freezing cold, crossing a river, fighting oftentimes barefoot, ill-clothed against Hessians on Christmas. I think we can all agree here, not one of the best ways to spend the holidays.
Definitely not.
And this sort of, actually, this hits a little bit home. Again, done very little research on this topic. I'm taking this strictly from my dad's understanding of the rubles in America. But so for those, actually, could you talk about Hessians a little bit, history buff?
Yeah, so essentially during the Revolutionary War, the British were pretty spread through and across their entire empire, so they would hire mercenaries, and this time Germany was not a United States. I believe it was Hesse-Kassel was, I guess, the nation principality, whatever it was. So they hired mercenaries from there to go and fight in the Revolutionary War in America, and they had a really rough reputation in the continental U.S. just because of their fighting prowess and reputation. So it was sort of like a morale booster for the soldiers at the time to say, hey, we beat the Kraut Germans on Christmas. But the reason why they're over here is because they're essentially mercenaries for the British Empire.
And so, cue the rubles. So even though my last name sounds very Russian, it actually comes from Germany, and apparently the first rubles in America were part of that Hessian force. And so,
Wow.
so we always used to joke around that that's why we love sleep so much. It's because those dudes were napping on the job, and they got captured, and then after the war was over and the colonies united as a states, they just decided to stay and settled in Pennsylvania and became farmers and all that stuff rather than going back to Germany. So
Can't blame them.
yeah, so that's theoretically.
So do you just hide from Americans every Christmas as a family tradition?
I go radio dark on July 4th so that I'm not tarred and feathered.
Good plan.
Yeah.
But wasn't it kind of okay, I might just be thinking back to something wrong here, but weren't they still paid for their time sitting in prison camp?
I mean, you're supposed to, but there was no Geneva Convention back then, so I don't think there were the same rules of law or rules of war or rule.
I think when the war ended, they got paid. They didn't get paid their full rate, obviously, because they weren't doing much. But I think the British still paid out some checks, which they were able to use to go buy some land to set up in Pennsylvania to
And
hide
become
out every
great
Christmas.
Americans.
Yeah.
All right, so next we have 1864. During the first Battle of Fort Fisher, several Marines were killed in the bombardment of the fort. And for those who are unschooled in the art of Civil War history, Fort Fisher was known as the Gibraltar of the South. And if your fortification is known as the Gibraltar of anything, that's generally not a good indication that it's pretty valuable, important, and that there's going to be some tough fighting going on there. And the Battle of Fort Fisher was a miserable mess for the Union forces during the Civil War. And in fact, it was what finally relieved, Abraham Lincoln relieved General Butler after just the miserable failure and the failure to follow orders and establish a siege of it. And for those who know much about Civil War history in the past, being a Marine on a Civil War ship is no fun. Especially when also on top of that, you are bombarding one of the largest forts of the Confederacy with over 50 major heavy guns against you.
Yeah. No, yeah. The first ever Marine to win a Medal of Honor was on the worst boat ever made, apparently, in the Civil War. So that checks out to me.
Yeah, and also for any of the fellow soldiers of the sea who are either on ship right now or have been on ship, we know that we don't get stationed generally on big carriers. We get sort of the lower rung of the surface warfare fleet. So yeah, just imagine 100 years ago what that must have been like, and like you said, under serious, because and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the range of those guns. I mean, this line of sight.
Yes. Yeah, and it's. I mean, some of them can go up to like a mile or two, and then, like I said, there was 50 heavy guns. The walls of Fort Fisher were 30 feet high, so it's a pretty formidable obstacle in the Civil War era.
And so that was the Gibraltar of the South. So Gibraltar being the gateway between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. It's the gateway between the.
Well, it was a peninsula that shot out and essentially was allowed smugglers and blockade runners to go in and deliver supplies in North Carolina. And after the Union took over in Norfolk, it was pretty much one of the South's major supply areas, logistics hubs. I mean, and this happened, in 1864. The second battle of Fort Fisher happened early in or mid-January 1865. So it was pretty much one of the major death knells of the Confederacy at that point.
Did they get it in the second battle?
Oh yeah, they got it. But I mean, after a horrible, bloody battle, but
And a bad Christmas.
and a very bad Christmas and an
what is that
unhappy
word,
New
Christmas?
Year's. All right, so next on we go into 1923. On this Christmas, the 10th Marine embarked from Quantico to prepare for winter maneuvers in the Caribbean. Again, it's not wartime, more lighthearted, but no one wants to go prepare for maneuvers on Christmas time. Especially, no one wants to be on ship.
Yeah, and when you mean preparing for maneuvers, that means that they're like on the ship, sailing down to
Yes.
the Caribbean shores.
It's like
But
Merry
not on
Christmas.
a Carnival cruise.
Yeah, I was gonna
not
say.
a cruise liner.
I'm
Again.
totally imagining a great December 25th cruise, but I think I have a different idea.
It's also
in my mind.
1923. The Caribbean
Yeah.
wasn't exactly as it is now. And plus, on top of that, I mean, it's like Merry Christmas, get on ship. Oh, and by the way, enjoy sleeping in close quarters, living in close quarters with everyone around you.
Swabbing decks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious
Actually-
food.
standing around a scuttlebutt.
Standing around a scuttlebutt, and as we just learned, not on the Navy's best boats.
That's right. Yeah. Well, let me rephrase. They are very good boats. They are just on the lower rung of the surface warfare fleet. That's all.
You're speaking for the boats 100 years ago here, Vic.
Oh, 100 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, continuing on, in 1943, the 1st Marine Division prepares to assault Cape Gloucester the next day. And as for all our World War II aficionados out there, Cape Gloucester was just another one of those, miserable island hopping meat grinders. And being mentally prepared to do that the next day after Christmas probably puts a damper on your holiday.
Was it 43 you said?
Yes, 43.
Ooh.
December. Well, the landing was December 26th, and the battle went till January 16th, 1944.
Good grief. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no fun. I mean, at least before you would land, they would give you a nice breakfast at least, but that's not going to make up for your next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have on 1947, 5 Marines on a hunting trip in China accidentally crossed into Chinese communist territory. 1 was killed and 1 was captured. And then also, I imagine those 3 guys who made it back were probably, wrung out pretty hard by their staff. Like, what the hell are you doing going into communist China?
Yeah, land nav there, knuckleheads.
Yeah.
That they would train a little bit better for that.
And plus, they're hunting, so they have guns with them. So
Yeah, yeah.
That's
No,
not,
that's not. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Not a good look at all.
And knowing our luck, they're probably hunting pandas or some, animal beloved by the Chinese people on top of that. So.
Yeah, I wonder what would even be up that way. Gotta be caribou or something.
In the
Yeah, it's
winter.
pretty
Yeah.
far up there.
And they were coming from where? Like, where were they? Where did they think they were?
I mean, they thought, 1947, so
I was gonna say, would it be Korea?
I don't, maybe, yeah, I don't know. So for those who are looking to supplement their Christmas presents, I found all of these in the USMC A Complete History, which was published by the Marine Corps Association. So another very shameless, shameful plug. So
Yes.
yeah, so Merry Christmas to all. Remember that, despite how awful your presents may be this year, there's always times in our history where Marines have had to go out and do much worse things than get coal.
Yeah. Yeah. Coal in your stocking, actually, for some of these folks would have been a better Christmas than what they got.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to believe the comments on the old Facebooks there, we're in the middle of a bad one right now.
Troll farmers.
Troll farmers.
Facebook is the real news.
Also, where are the tanks?
Yeah.
I
Funny
guess
thing is,
nothing to be very thankful for this year.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
No.
Thanks a lot
Oh,
for that one. That was
man.
awesome.
Oh, thanks for the memories.
No
I imagine like
comment.
most of our followers are just like, why are they so obsessed about tanks? Like, well, because they're badass and cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, for many of your Christmases you just listed, there weren't even tanks anyway, so, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Speaking of going around and coming around, transition.
That was a great segue.
It
Thank
was.
you. I haven't been working on them. I should practice. We pulled up some old issues of Leatherneck Magazine, which our members can get to in the archive, member benefit.
The ghosts of Christmas past.
The Ghosts of Christmas Past. So we found the 1921 edition of Leatherneck. I don't believe it was a magazine at the time. I think it was just a newspaper or a pamphlet.
It was more of a newspaper.
More of a newspaper. And we're going to pull up some interesting little tidbits. Vic, you have a Did You Know section from 1921 right in front of you. What did we need to know from 1921?
Yeah,
These are all
so
December, right?
December
December.
1921. I've got a little segment of the Leatherneck newspaper.
Yep.
And yeah, like you mentioned, there's a Did You Know? So you got some pretty choice. So there are some interesting statistics. So the way this thing is structured is that these are like, it's a Do You Know is what it's titled. And then they literally are asking the question, do you know this? They don't validate it as like, no, that was wrong. Did you know this? No, they're just asking you the question. So I guess this is an invitation to learn more. So like for example, there are plans that have been put forward to raise, or I guess, do you know that plans have been put forward to raise the Red Cross liner Stefano, which now lies off of Nantucket Lightship in 29 fathoms of water? She was torpedoed on October 6, 1916 by the German submarine U-53. Did you know? Here's an interesting one. Do you know that there are approximately 120,000 hairs on the average scalp?
Did not know
Not
that.
my
Did
scalp.
not know
Oh,
that?
wow.
Do you know that wireless communication, 1921, this has been an ongoing thing. What is old is now new. Wireless communication between land and aircraft has been developed during the past year to such an extent that it is now possible to keep constant communication between aircraft and land stations.
It's pretty radical.
Whoa! Heyo!
That's important.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. All right.
So right there, that is the beginning of an entire high-stress career for air traffic controllers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
paid
guess
a
before
lot.
this it was like flags, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You use a lot of flags.
I hope that runway's
You had to do
clear.
spotters, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are up on a tower. You had to spot. Hey, here they come. Flag. Get the flag guy out.
Oh, there's a piece of cloth coming in on the wind.
And I mean,
That's a plane.
correct me if I'm wrong, historian.
Oh boy.
The first Marine air, I mean, other than like blimps and stuff, was World War I, right?
Yeah, I think so. I have to go more into that, but I think I
Which
don't
would
know.
be
I don't
like-
know if they had fighters, but they definitely may have had reconnaissance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were trying to find submarines, I think, right? In the North Sea or something like that.
So it'd have been like what, 1916, 1917?
Yeah, I think around that.
So yeah, so 1921. I mean, this hasn't been. I mean, this is still an emerging
Oh,
even
yeah.
capability within the MAGTF, right? Like this is just the
Oh yeah.
the
19
ground level of the MAGTF.
So what I'm hearing is that we need to do a future episode taking a deep dive into aviation history. That's what I'm hearing.
That would make you.
What I'm
very
hearing
happy.
is I need to go on eBay and find Marine Corps aviation history books to just.
And maybe we
speed
could even
read.
look at some of the ordinances
Yeah.
that
We do
those
that.
aircraft
Can
would
do
carry.
that.
Yeah. All right. Do you know that the air forces of the two United States fleets are now composed of scouting, spotting, combat, torpedo, bombing planes, and kite balloons?
My goodness.
Kite balloons was one of the
So if a
many
kite's,
arms of Marine Corps aviation.
so a kite's not enough and a balloon's not enough.
It's
We
a
had
kite
to-
balloon.
submerge them.
It's a balloon probably on a string,
Yeah.
right? So it's a kite balloon. We have
Yeah,
actually.
don't quote us on this.
Yeah. No, this is. We'll do the disclaimer again at the end of the show, but again, what was once old is new. So one of the things we had in our inventory during the Long War were these G-Boss cameras, and they would sit on these huge balloons that were tied to a string, and it was obviously a string that was tied, connected to their camera readout and stuff.
Kind of like a weather balloon.
It was like a weather balloon,
Yeah.
and it had a camera, and you would get like 360 capability. You could control it, whatever. So hey, kite balloons, man,
Yeah.
these guys were on it. This is like the forefront of modern warfare. Which, if you listen to the episode with Dr. Michael Hunziker, you would see that was the birth
Yeah.
of modern warfare. Okay, last one. Do you know that Australia is larger in area than the United States and contains less people than the city of New York? 1921, Australia had less people than the city of New York.
Wow.
It was larger in area than
The United States.
United States, which at the time did not include Alaska.
and Hawaii.
And Hawaii, yeah.
Hawaii's not adding a lot to that total, but
Hey,
Well, I mean,
Alaska.
if you count the waters in between, right?
for all who matter, or so all our listeners from Hawaii, you matter. We care about you
Very much.
Absolutely.
very much. Your land is valuable to us.
But you're like the 49th largest state. Let's slow down.
Oh,
But there's some also interesting things on my
48.
little page here. There was a dinner between British Royal Marines and United States Marines, and they have the menu,
Nice.
which is pretty cool. So let's see, in December 1921, if you're hosting British Royal Marines in an official dinner under the direction of Mess Steward Charles F. Hirsch, by first cook Charles P. Hungler. Hungler, the guy's the cook, his name's Hungler. Second cook William H. Lape, L-A-P-E, Lape. Third cook Charles B. McKeng. And fourth cook Charles D. There's a lot of Charleses
Chuck
in this
was
cookie
popular
set.
back
This
then.
is the, what's that?
Chuck was popular back
Yeah.
then.
Chuck. One of the like Chuck roasts. Anyways, so here's what these are the victuals that they served up for our distinguished guest. Oyster cocktail, sweet pickles,
Nice.
lobster salad, olives, cream of tomato soup,
Nice.
saltines.
For
That
the
is
soup.
For the
A
soup.
delicacy.
Yeah.
yeah. No, not oyster crackers. Saltines.
Even though we have oysters at the meal, like
Yeah, well, because you have the oyster cocktail. Why would
Yeah.
you need oyster crackers? Celery.
Wow.
That's big. Roast young turkey with chestnut dressing, giblet gravy, cranberry sauce, strawberry jam, candied yams, asparagus tips on toast, mince pie, little something for the home team, mashed potatoes, ice cream, bananas, mixed candies, apples, fruit cake, oranges, mixed nuts, bread, butter, coffee, cigars, fruit punch, and cigarettes.
No tea?
that's a very solid Christmas.
That's a solid. I mean, they even included the tobacco in there.
yeah.
Yeah, I like our Packerettes for my Christmas dinner.
That's some Lucky Strikes to help it go
Yeah.
down.
And it's almost. Is that the Christmas meal that's like more of the modern Thanksgiving meal almost?
I mean, they gave them the full thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if these are all a single course, but I mean, it's at least 3 courses with a whole smattering. And then another last interesting thing about my little page here is some of the advertisements are just so fantastic. So, if you are in the business of getting medals, you can go to Non-Com Liquid Tripoli.
Perfect.
Who for cleaning and brandishing all metals, especially adapted to the needs of all branches of the service, prepared by Waller and Mosky druggists. This was their official title. They were druggists.
Druggists.
Yeah. So that was on 8th and I up in DC. And then for all of your non-uniform needs, you want to look smart, have a nice smart outfit when you go out on the town on Libo, go to Saxon Company. We keep in touch, they say, with Marine Corps by reading the Leatherneck. The Leatherneck, they read it.
I bet you they don't anymore.
Probably not.
With interest, we follow the strenuous life of the quote-unquote devil dogs in big caps. Outside of the mere business aspect of the case, we read with pleasure that the wearing of civilian clothes when on liberty is again in vogue. If you know Sachs & Company, you will come to us for hats, clothes, haberdashery, shoes, traveling cases, and sporting goods. If you don't know us, come in and get acquainted with the largest outfitters in South New York. If you don't want to buy anything, this is nuanced. This is something that people need to look into. If you don't want to buy anything, when in town, come in, see us, have a friendly talk. Sachs & Company of Washington, D.C., 7th and Pennsylvania Avenue. Stop by, have a chin wag, maybe leave us some haberdashery.
Nice.
Haberdashery is the hat, right?
They already said hats.
Yeah,
hats,
but
clothes,
to buy
and
a new
haberdashery.
hat, haberdashery is fixing your hat.
I think
Well,
so.
but then it's shoes right after that. So, I mean, I think the haberdashery is everything.
Oh, it's fixing one of the things.
Is it fixing
Is it
something?
fixing hats or is it fixing shoes?
All right. Well, let's write a Gazette article about what haberdashery is and where we
I'd
need
have
to
to-
be.
It's
with
really
it.
Yeah, I'd have to
important.
look into that a
Yeah.
little bit.
It's really
Leatherneck.
important.
The Leatherneck.
The Leatherneck, that's right.
Haberdasher. That's they fix stuff, right? Like
I
Is it
mean, it's
shoes?
listed as hats with like hats, clothes, and haberdashery, then shoes.
haberdashery is maintaining what you got because obviously
Or is it custom?
You know, you can
Custom.
stop in 7th and Pennsylvania, Sachs & Company, and talk to them about what they do with their
they
haberdashery.
read the Leatherneck. We should be able to get in there and get some street cred just by walking in and be like, hey, guess
Yeah.
I just want to talk.
Yeah, I'm just here to.
Just want
yeah.
to talk. Here's
Yeah.
the latest edition of Leatherneck. I helped with it.
I'm waiting on my
come on.
cab. My
Yeah.
limo buddies bailed on me.
I've
Let's
got
talk
two
about
definitions here for haberdashery.
All right.
it. Okay.
North
Wireless
American.
communications.
That's
what it
right,
is.
wireless communications. North American definition, men's clothing and accessories. The British definition is small items used in sewing, such as buttons, zippers, and threads. Notions. So it could be,
Suit maintenance. Got it. Nailed
Yeah, it's all
it.
encompassing.
Looking sharp.
yeah.
It's all about looking smart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting it done while on Libo.
While we're talking about ads, William also has a page here with a couple
Yeah,
ads
so
on.
if you were, Christmas shopping via the Leatherneck in December 1921, I would probably recommend Hops, nitro powder solvent number 9, trademark registered, for cleaning high-power Springfield rifles, revolvers, machine guns, and firearms of all kind, necessary to success of all contestants for honors at every rifle match. For sale at hardware and sporting goods stores, post exchanges. Frank A. Hop, 2314 North 8th Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Man, I wish the good old days when you could just oil up your machine gun
Right.
with hops.
And you
Right.
don't even need a cool name. You just call it
Nitro
what?
powder,
The nitro powder
number nine.
Number
baby.
9.
Yeah, give
Raise
me-
your hand if you love the
I
smell
mean,
of hops
1
number 9.
through 8
do.
was an absolute goat rodeo, but number 9
He
nailed
got it. He
it.
finally got it right. 1 through 8, like who knows what you're using with that nitro
Yeah,
powder,
that's right. You'll strip
know,
it. You'll strip it clean.
Honestly, I want to pick some of this up and try it myself. It sounds legit.
Well, it's a nice glass jar. There's a picture
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
magazine,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, it looks
With
like
a with a
snake.
cork.
But it's not a tonic. It's a powder.
It's a
It
powder.
could be a tonic.
It's a nitro powder.
Nitro powder.
But also in 1921, if you were a Marine, you could also get some jokes, and we have some nice jokes that are appropriate to our age and time. So we'll go off. Judge, who brought you here? Drunk. 2 policemen. Judge, drunk, I suppose? Drunk. Yes, sir, both of them.
Oh my. Humor has not
We
changed
need a
much.
laugh track right now.
It's like a dad joke.
I hear you had a quarrel with your sweetheart the other day. Yes, she sneered at my apartment, so knocked her flat.
Let's avoid the rest of the jokes.
That
there's
didn't
gotta
age
be
well.
another good one.
No, that one doesn't. That doesn't play.
Most
Nah,
of the jokes
not
don't play.
anymore.
There's a
here-
dark part of our history, guys.
Here's another one that's hopefully appropriate. Waiter, yes, sir. What's this? It's bean soup, sir. No matter what it has been, the question is, what is it now?
Has been.
Whatever
Whatever
it
it has been.
Has
It's
been.
bean soup. Whatever it has been.
What is it now? Because it's not bean soup anymore.
Another joke. Cop, hey, where are you going? Don't you know this is a one-way street? Driver, well, I'm only going one way, ain't I?
But bump.
All right.
There we go.
If you happen to reading the Leatherneck on Christmas, you can also see that the Leatherneck acknowledge Christmas cards. The Leatherneck acknowledges with thanks Christmas cards from Mrs. K.L. Lampier of Canandaigua, sorry Canandaiguians, New York, Mr. C.H. Hunnell of Terre Haute, Indiana, and the Planters National Bank of Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Well, you got all the hard ones in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, then
so-
Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And if you happen to be a very lonely Marine on Christmas Eve, you could have gone to the Marine Barracks film program and seen. This is for January, not December. So if you were lonely on New Year's, you could have seen Enchantment with Marion Davies. Quality classic film, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
that is
totally.
You can actually get everything on the entire month is in there. So if you need to plan your trip to the theater, you can know what's playing on, say, January 13th.
Who do we?
It's not this place.
Oh no,
Enlisted
that's
Men's
nothing.
Dance.
That's the enlisted man's dance.
I picked the wrong.
What is it? Whose dance is it?
The enlisted men.
man's.
Oh,
Oh.
the enlisted man's dance.
We have a on the Tuesday the 31st. We had the Isle of Rich starring Charles Chaplin.
Yes. Charlie
Charles.
Chaplin.
You got to end the month on a high note.
Exactly, with all these classic films. And then speaking of classics and classic films and classic years, Nancy, what do you got going on in 39?
Well, I've got some poetry. I've got some of the famous Leatherneck gyrene jingles.
Before we jump into that, though, I think we need to know what a gyrene is.
Yes, absolutely. And Vic gave an amazing definition.
Amazing is too kind.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's third hand, and again.
The best kind of information
Yeah.
is third
This
hand.
is totally corroborated by a buddy of mine who went to jump school. So apparently, and for those who have been to jump school, they can
Allegedly, no.
Allegedly, no, he did go to jump school. He's
No,
legit.
no, no,
That
I
part's
mean-
legit.
Apparently, he went to judge school.
Okay,
Allegedly,
okay.
he knows what gyrene means.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
right,
exactly.
right,
There we
right.
go. Clarifying. Thank you. So yeah, goes to jump school. Gets called gyrene all the time. Hey, gyrene. And he's like, doesn't understand what that is all about. And so because it's a Marine at an Army school, and most of the people that come through the school are soldiers, they are GIs. Since a Marine, he's not going to call him a Marine because he doesn't rate being called a Marine. He's going to call he also doesn't rate being called a soldier because he's not a soldier. So he calls him a gyrene.
Nice.
So he's not a soldier, but he
Okay.
also doesn't rate being called a Marine because, Army and Marine Corps cross-service competition stuff. So he calls him gyrene and makes him sad.
All
Well,
right.
On that note,
Sad Christmas.
Yeah.
well, and I'm about to make it sad again.
Aw.
So for about the first 100 years of Leatherneck's existence,
The Leatherneck.
The Leatherneck. The last page of The Leatherneck featured jingles or poetry, jingles of a gyrene. Later, the title was changed to Gyrene Jingles. So I'm going to read you from the December 1939 edition, the poem called A Mother's Part by Mrs. Mary L. Hulse. We train our sons to meet life, to take their place among men. We see them go, our hearts aglow, yet wishing them home again. 'Twas at the close of a too short day that my boy bid me goodbye, and I tried to smile as hard I prayed, please God, don't let me cry. A mother's work is never done, even though her sons become men. To her for courage they oft must look, oh time and time again. My soldier boy is strong and fine. He'll make good his boast to me. A wonderful mother you've been, he said. Now I'll be the man you hoped I'd be. So he'll make good, I know, with singleness of vision and purpose strong, ready to serve the land of his birth and protect it from infamy and wrong. All alone tonight I sit in our little home at the top of the hill. The frogs are quiet, the birds are hushed, and even the winds are still. Perhaps they know I am praying for the son who now is among men, and I smile as from the starry heavens seems to roll a triumphant amen.
Man, it's like dust in the air or something.
Beautiful poem, but I feel like if any Marine was called a soldier boy by his mom, that wouldn't end well.
Well, probably not.
But I think soldier boy has a nice ring to it.
Little
like,
poetic license.
Yeah, there you go.
then
There you
Marine-
go. Yeah,
then
you
Marine boy.
gotta keep the tempo.
Right.
Keep the
Also,
repetition.
Little
and the-
soldier boy, little Marine boy.
In 39,
maybe.
they probably weren't as hard on that as they would be later.
Perhaps not.
So,
You got to do it for its musicality.
Right. Poetic license.
you know, you gotta get the pentameter right. I didn't analyze it. I don't know if it's iambic or not, guys.
I don't know.
Come on,
That's
get
rolling.
on
Yeah,
it.
you're the English teacher over here.
I was, but you have to sit down and like make little dashes and lines on there.
That's no fun.
I didn't take the time to do that.
Where's our wireless communication? We can validate this.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you got?
I don't have my
Nick,
phone with me, so
what
I
do you
can't do that. Well, I mean, I got poems for days.
Nice.
Guys. Poems
So
for
can
days.
we get some of them in like different voices? Do you do impersonate?
I can try.
Are
Can
they a
you
little more
please?
upbeat than what I just read, I hope?
I want to go upbeat. Let's do Get It Done.
Yes, come on. Let's get some voices.
1928.
Christmas, baby.
This has no author on it. It's just selected. All right, so Get It Done. It isn't the job we intend to do or the labor we've just begun that puts us right on the balance sheet. It's the work we've really done. Our credit is built on the things we do, our debt on the things we shirk. The man who totals the biggest plus is the man who completes his work. Good intentions are not. Good Lord, guys, I'm sorry. Good intentions do not pay our bills. It is easy enough to plan. To wish is the play of an office boy. To do is the work of man.
Why don't you talk like that all the time? That's
Yeah.
That was
Very
that-
motivating.
Because
I
I
like
mess up a lot.
Was that? Did they rhyme done with done?
You can write whatever you want when you're a man.
When you're doing, when you're doing the work of a man. Yeah. Oh no, begun and done. Okay.
Begun and
very
done.
good.
So I should go and post and cut out my errors.
And so, how do they spell gyrene here? Is it
With a G. G-Y-R-E-N.
G-Y-R-E-N-E? Huh, I gotta look that up.
So,
Get back to us on that.
I mean, when it's a made-up
Wireless
word, you can spell it however you want.
What's that?
When it's a made-up word, you can spell it however you want.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So, all right. You guys got anything else on your pages? Or do you want to just pick a year between 32 and 35?
Yeah, regale us.
Pick a year.
35.
35. All right. I want to talk about shoe or stocking. This is author unknown, and this is probably not as fun as the other one. In Holland, children set their Good Lord. This was a bad copy job. In Holland, children set their shoes this night outside the door. Those wooden shoes net Clopsy and fills them from his store. But here we hang our stockings up on handy hook or nail, and Santa Claus, when all is still, will plump them without fail. Speak out, you sober sides, speak out and let us hear your views. Between a stocking and a shoe, what do you see to choose? What intent pauses sober sides? A little side of fetch? Well, seems to me a stocking's best, for wooden shoes won't stretch. Because you don't want your stockings to limit what you can get from Santa, guys.
Yeah, but you can also like.
But wait, so I missed the correlation between the clogs, the wooden clogs. And
Wooden
the
clogs
stocking.
don't stretch. This is from Holland.
Yeah.
What are you gonna have Santa put your presents in? A stocking, which stretches.
Right, but I guess
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the clog was an option.
I want to know who Sober Sides is.
Sober sides. Well, I mean, somebody doesn't drink.
He's not drinking.
Poor guy.
I also got to figure out who Necked Clobes is.
Sober sides. Is that what it is? Sober sides.
Sober Sides and Necked Clobes. I think
Cloves.
I think
Maybe he's friends with Dry Danny.
possibly. I don't know. This is Holland, so
Very exotic.
yeah. I like to reach
Yeah, I
over
guess
the
I'm just
seas.
interested in. So, is the idea of the poem then to make sure that Santa doesn't inerrantly put in toys into your clogs and that hits the stocking?
No, you have two choices. You can put out your shoes, or you can put out
the
your stockings.
Okay.
And if you put out your shoes,
You're gonna plump that stocking. You can't plump a clog.
Yeah, your wooden shoes won't stretch. It says it right. It's the
right
kicker
there.
line in the whole
I guess
boat.
I
The
never
wooden
knew it was an
shoes won't
option.
stretch.
I always just thought the stocking
You've
was a
lived your
one-way
entire
thing.
life on this side of the Atlantic Ocean,
That's
so
true.
I can see
That's true.
how you wouldn't understand how things are done in Europe.
Yeah, those crazy Dutchmen.
Okay, so that was fun. Let's go back a year, 1934. Little ships or Christmas at sea?
Little ships.
Christmas at sea.
Oh, all right. Christmas at sea.
William, break the tie.
Christmas.
Christmas at sea. All right, I can't do that many voices, guys, so this is just going to be Nick singing by Constantine M. Perkins. This is a reverie, by the way. So,
Okay, very nice.
I can't really... I should have printed these so much bigger. In home snug hearth, it is Christmas Eve. I gaze through the pane at the whistling snow. In memory's magic web I weave, dreamed windows of long ago. Pictures, guys, I'm sorry. Dreamed pictures. I got shown off by dream being spelled with an N. In retrospect, I sit and nurse through the misty sweep of 50 years, back to my past midshipman's cruise as the harbor light on the headland nears. As snug within my study warm, I see without the eddying snow. I vision such another storm on Christmas Eve once long ago. I hear subdued the sullen roar of billows and a hurricane, of breakers on a rocky shore, in the bent upon my window pane. The A's look like N's. In the beat upon my window pane. I'm really sorry, guys. The dash of spume, the rattle of rain, the whistle and whine of the winds that blow, and my sailing days come back again as I doze by the fire's ruddy glow. Through frosty rain there comes to me a vision of spindrift, sleet and snow, and I glimpse again at Christmas at sea, neath memory's pall of long ago. I feel the bite of driving rain, the slap and spray, the frosty nip of icy blast. I am back again to the vanished days of seamanship, to the days of 50 years ago when ships were ships and men were men. Whenever wintry tempests blow, and I have those memories o'er again. I watch the topsails sinking leach, I twirl the spokes of frost and veer, as full and by the weather reach, with an anxious eye on running gear. Now a barmalet, I doze and dream. In retrospect, by the embers glow, my anchors east in a quiet stream, at Christmas, and my watch below. That's it.
Ho, ho, ho.
These are pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
when we first came up with this idea, I have to admit, I thought it was going to be a little bit of an S
Yeah.
show, man. But these are good poems.
Oh, it's still an S show because I'm reading it.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
reading accoutrement, acumen aside, I think these are pretty good.
Yeah.
Well written,
Yeah.
well crafted.
Yeah, they've put some
Well,
time
that was,
into
I
it.
was so
and it's-
disappointed. I thought because later on, some of them get kind of
Cheesy.
bad and cheesy and sappy and kind of like. I sat down in my study one day and I wrote a poem. Never written one before in my life. These ones, they obviously tried. They
I
obviously
think they're
cared.
good.
It was a different era.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
And interesting that even then, the poet is yearning for the
50
old
years
core.
ago. That was 1934. So 1984? 1884? That can go the right direction.
1984 was still a good year.
So
Yeah.
if you're looking back from now, yeah, those are the days of yore. Okay, you want to go back another year? Do you think I can do one right this time?
Let's give it a go.
Good luck.
Okay, Gifts by Hair Trigger Hop. That's the name they put in there, Hair Trigger Hop. Don't be downrange of this person.
For sure not.
I cannot bring you trophies of the chase, rare amber beads and ropes of pearl and jade, ransomed with blood from mammon's cold embrace, or gain of paltry bickering and trade. I cannot bring you gifts of other men, and lay love's guerdon at your feet to prize. Rejoicing in the brilliance of each gem was ever more than within your eyes. But I would capture words, arrayed in dreams, and break them to my will and sing your praise, where love and life and sentiment, passion gleams, forever through the clouds of springtime days. The jewels and cups of Helen's chest are... Oh,
Probably should have screened that one.
I should have screened that a little bit. I'm going to say it how it is, though, because I saw it and I immediately panicked. I remembered we're all adults here. The jewels and cups
Are
of
we,
Helen's
though?
breasts are gone. But Helen's beauty quivers yet in song. She's not as perky as she once was, but it's okay.
Moving right along.
See, I saw that one right next to the Lumberjack of Maine, and I thought, that one's got to be better than the Lumberjack of Maine
Well, now we gotta find out.
by C. Grenville Wilson. The Lumberjack of Maine. The scent of pine, it was the breath of life, and the thrill of the drive his pay. Danger to him was a wedded wife, and a run on the logs at play. No time in his for ease or dream, when the rivers were in flood, when the lunge of the logs they took to stream, fired fever in his blood. White water and rips brought the song to his lips, and he drove the logs through the spume. That's the second time I've seen the word spume, sorry. And his nimble tread and swaying hips, he rode them into the boom. Jams and high water took their toll on Okay, that's the river that I can never get right. Penobscot and Allagash. And Kennebec water claimed many a soul, but he went to his death with a dash. With head held high and unflinching glance, and his song a smitten bell, with pick-pole poise like a questing lance, he rode through the mill tails of hell. And that is the Lumberjack of Maine. Has nothing to do with the Marine Corps.
Yeah, no, but I
But
mean,
there it is.
he
In
went
gyrating
down.
jingles.
Like he went.
Yeah,
He's doing the work of a man.
doing the work of a man.
When men were men and
When
ships
men
were
were
ships.
men, ships were ships, and logging was logging.
And Leatherneck was the Leatherneck.
The Leatherneck.
The
The
Leatherneck.
Leatherneck.
And Sachs and Co.
Red,
down for a chin
Yeah.
wag.
That's right.
Yeah. red
That's-
Leatherneck.
Like today's equivalent would be the online chat with a customer service rep, right?
No, I think it's more like Costco, right? Like they just want you to come in and then impulse buy.
Yeah,
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah. Well, I think
Just
that's
get them in the door.
I think that's enough of me butchering poetry, unless you guys want to take one.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, it is definitely not my skill set.
All right. Well, that feels like a good holiday time. I apologize again for messing up the poems, but I'm not going to go back and fix those.
Well,
They know that, but at this point, they
Yeah,
already
yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
This is very
Yeah.
off the cuff. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good way to wrap up, right? I mean,
Sure.
some holiday cheer. So I guess I'll be the first to just thank all of our listeners for tuning in. This has been a really fun few months, and as we, think back on the episodes that we've done, and we look forward to the episodes that are coming up. I just again want to thank everyone. I want to thank the Marine Corps Association for letting us come in here and do this. This is amazing, and then all of our listeners for tuning in and being with us through our, 11 episodes now.
This is episode 12.
This will be episode 12, but we've done aired 11. If you do the math, that checks out. And then, but yeah, so I just want to say a very heartfelt and gracious Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, guys. Everyone, be safe and have a lot of fun. And thanks again.
You said it too well for me to chime in too much, so yeah, thank you everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and like I said, we mentioned earlier in a couple other episodes, like look out, see how you can help other people, especially the Afghan refugees during this time. It's trying for everyone, but we can make the best of it.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We enjoyed putting together this special holiday episode, already making plans for next year. And have a great holiday season and best wishes for an amazing 2022.
All right, with that, just a quick disclaimer. Nothing we said here is reflective of the Marine Corps Association's any official stance. This was all opinion and hearsay, and we look forward to seeing you next year.